Welcome to the Dental Marketing Guy Show. I'm Justin, the Dental Marketing Guy, and today we have a very important guest. You're going to want to hear what Dr. Dan Marut has to say. Dr. Dan is, you may have already heard of Quality Dental Plans. This is a huge resource. I want to tell you a little bit about Dr. Dan and kind of give him the floor on how he can help you grow your practice. We're talking case acceptance, we're talking marketing, we're talking everything that this plan, Quality Dental Plans, has got to be one of the most comprehensive aspects, and I would say probably most neglected aspect in your dental practice as far as marketing is concerned, as far as internal marketing is concerned. Dr. Dan Marut DMD established Quality Dental Plan in October 2009 after 3 years of rigorous testing and development. His vision for QDP is to connect dentists looking to make a difference in their communities with new patients, while giving people without dental insurance a compelling reason to go to the dentist. Dr. Marut is committed to helping dentists like yourself achieve a sense of financial well-being and independence from insurance companies. That sounds really good. And provides the program structure and marketing materials to support you in this endeavor through QDP. But you know, I could talk about QDP for a few minutes, but I probably couldn't do as good a job as you, Dr. Dan. How are you?
I'm doing great, Justin. Thanks for having me on. And you hit a couple great points on there. And it's just fantastic to be on this podcast with you, leveraging technology and using what mediums that people are using nowadays to communicate. So thanks for having me on, and definitely appreciate it. Looking forward to our discussion.
Yeah, and you know, I gotta say, I always love having a dentist on my show because, you know, there's a lot of marketing people out there like myself, and you know, we're not dentists. So when I have a dentist who has founded a company for dentists, it's always a good thing. I mean, I don't need to explain that to you. You know, because you experienced some issues in your practice that gave birth to QDP. I was hoping maybe you could tell us a little bit of the story of your background as a dentist and what kind of challenges you faced that caused you to say, you know what, let's start QDP.
Sure. You know, Justin, I was a normal wet-fingered dentist in the trenches, just like everybody else out there, you know, going through the day-to-day challenges of you know, keeping up with managing a team, managing a practice, trying to grow a practice, and budgeting my time with my family, my hobbies, and trying to live a lifestyle that I wanted to. That one of the reasons why I got into dentistry. And you know, one of the challenges that we always undertook in our practice, or that we saw, let's say, were of course patients who didn't have insurance and the mentality of insurance. And I'd get questions from patients all the time, like, oh, do you have an insurance plan you could recommend for me? You know, if I had insurance, I would have come in earlier and this wouldn't be an emergency. Or the one a lot of us hear is, oh, I ran out of my insurance benefits this year. I can't get any more work done. I have to wait till next year till they go ahead and renew. And so, you know, I took the road of, well, if I educate them on insurance and what it is, and it's actually, you know, there's different options for you out there, that might work. Well, it really didn't. People out there, they wanted a plan, they believed they need a plan, they heard about it all the time. And so no matter what I really told them, it didn't really make a hill of beans when it came to that aspect of their care, which was the cost objection. The number one reason why people don't go to the dentist is the cost objection. And so when hearing all these people weren't going to the dentist, getting their work done because they didn't have a plan, we said, well, let's create a plan that actually makes sense for the dentist and the patient. Let's eliminate the third-party hassles that are associated with the traditional insurance. So that's how the whole idea came up in the first place. We wanted to really preserve the doctor-patient relationship and remove any third-party layer and hassles for the patient and for our practice. So with that said, we journeyed down the road of implementing Quality Dental Plan QDP in our practice, and figuring out all the kinks, and are continually working on on making it the best it can be. And yeah, that was, gosh, we launched it officially in 2009, but we were working on it for a few years prior.
You know, one of the things I think our viewers like about these episodes is, you know, I've got a few questions to ask you, but just kind of off the cuff, I'm wondering, like, would you say, because I know a lot of prospective dental patients feel this way, that they have this impression, and it's not true for those of our listeners. I'm not representing this, but this is what is said out in the marketplace, is they believe dentists become dentists to make money. And would you say something like QDP kind of puts you in the same, like on the same team as the patient? Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, I hear where you're going with it, and absolutely, you know, if people got into dentistry to make money, there's a lot better ways, in my opinion, to make money than being a dentist. You have to have the willingness to serve the communities you're in and take care of people, and so, you know, there's different ways you can make money without doing those types of things and doing the work that us dentists do, which is grueling at times, working in the environments that we do. It's tough. But as far as being on the same team as the patient, absolutely. You know, when you start to look at a program that you're designing specifically for your practice and your community, that is a win-win. That's the definition of that right there. So yeah, you become on the same team. You're a partner with that patient rather than having some other third party managing a plan that gets in between that relationship and can make actually you out to look like a bad guy. I mean, lots of times if insurance doesn't cover something, they say us, well, why did you do that work then? Why did this happen? You know, I have to pay more now because this is going on, when it's really not our fault, but it's a part of those hassles that you deal with when dealing with third parties.
Yeah, you know, you hear about, I mean, there's some dental marketing companies out there, which will remain nameless on the show, who encourage you to schedule someone without qualifying them, as far as insurance or ability to pay and things like that. Just get them through the door. And I know sometimes I've heard from clients of mine, they get a little upset when you rush them through the door and then they find out after the bill is due that you don't take their insurance. That's tricky. So I can definitely, I mean, this sounds like you might, I'm sure you've thought of these things when you founded QDP. Let's delve into my first question. Let's talk about, for the uninitiated or those who somehow haven't heard of what you guys are doing to help private practice dentistry, what is Quality Dental Planner QDP? I know we've kind of touched on it a little bit, but maybe you could give the short and punchy version of what it
Sure.
is.
Sure, like the elevator pitch, right? You know, it's essentially, I mean, QDP is a low-cost alternative to high-dollar dental insurance that allows patients to save on dental treatment and gives dentists full control of all fees and plan benefits. That's what it is in its most basic form. It eliminates third-party hassles, allows the dental office full control, and keeps that relationship between the doctor and patient the way it should be. We all know cost is the #1 reason why people don't go to the dentist. And so what QDP does is really break down that barrier. And by breaking down that barrier, we're increasing access to care to so many of our community who just put off dentistry because they don't have a plan. So our goal at QDP is to preserve that dentist-patient relationship and also increase access to care. So we're really fulfilling our mission as a dentist and as a dental office.
Excellent, excellent. So we've got a lot of do-it-yourself listeners, you know, who are going to say, you know, tell me why does, and you know what, I've seen you on Dental Town, and I've seen some of the threads about QDP. A lot of good discussion there, and I've seen this kind of thing come up before. They say, tell me, why does a dentist need a company like QDP? Why not just come up with my own in-house savings plan on your own?
Sure, and you know, I'm a huge believer, Justin, of human ingenuity. Whatever you put your mind to, you can go ahead and accomplish. I mean, there's so many examples of that. Just getting through dental school is a huge accomplishment for us dentists. And so, you know, what it really comes down to, though, as a dentist and as a business person, it comes down to time and money, right? On the surface level, you know, so many things out there look easy enough, but once you start to peel back the layers and really getting into it, you start to see the complications, and getting it right from day one. It can be extremely difficult if you don't have expertise in that area. You know, things like setting up the benefits, pricing. How do you price it? You know, what type of savings do you offer that makes sense for your standard of care, right? And your business philosophy. What do you include as part of the benefits? And more importantly, what do you not include and why? Part of it also is knowing what to actually call the program and what not to call the program. There are many places where you can't even call it a membership, and people are calling it a membership. Those are things that can actually, you know, raise red flags when it comes to different state insurance commissions and things like that. So there's a lot of minutia that goes into setting up these plans, like even like accounting, simple accounting. How do you account for when you're signing people up and working with them? How do you account for that in your practice management system and such? And so really, when you're looking at designing something like this, sure, you look at websites, oh, that seems easy enough, but always there's a saying out there, the devil's in the details, right? So once you start to peel back those layers, you start to understand the intricacies of what needs to be accomplished, you know, from the standpoint of making it successful. Kind of like a patient, if they're watching us do dentistry, and they say, wow, you're only in there for 45 minutes, and it cost me $1,000. Wow, you made it look easy. Well, you do. You know, when you know what you're doing, it's successful from day one. So, you know, I have a saying I like to use, Justin, in business, and it's called do what you do best and delegate the rest, right? I mean, where do you want to spend your time? Do you want to spend your time treating patients? Do you want to take time with your family? Do you want to go out and enjoy your hobbies? I mean, if you really, really, really enjoy figuring out a new system, consulting experts, talking with attorneys, creating forms, training your team, designing marketing pieces, figuring out all the accounting and all the minutia that goes into running a successful plan, then really go for it, because you'll have satisfaction doing that. But if you'd rather use your time wisely, hire experts. I mean, that's where we come. That's where QDP comes in. I mean, the time saved using QDP will pay you dividends. I mean, as a dentist, you can produce 200, 300, over $500 an hour. Why would you ever use that time to do something other than what you're an expert at, right? And so when you look at it from that aspect, you know, do what you do best and delegate the rest. QDP allows you to be successful from day one.
You mean to tell me, Dr. Dan, that you don't cast your own dies and make all the impressions and run the front desk?
Right? Yeah, I learned that long ago. You know, use my skills to the best of their ability and hire people who do things better than me. And you know, that's a successful business model that a lot of people use.
And not just necessarily better. I mean, there are experts, of course, but you know, it's not that a dentist couldn't do a dental assistant's job.
Sure.
All right. So, I mean, everyone knows how to cook a steak, but you still go to, I don't want to name a brand because I might get roasted. No pun intended. But
right.
Okay, so here are, you know, we've got this idea of QDP. Some people might be interested in doing it themselves. But I would ask you, are all dental savings plans, all these companies, I mean, I haven't even heard of them all, but I'm sure they exist. Are they equal to QDP in terms of experience, offerings, cost? How do you compare in your marketplace?
You know, it's really interesting. QDP, we've been assisting dentists and team members with implementation, training, and support of successful in-office programs longer than anybody else out there. We've seen a lot of operations come and go, a lot of operations go through different changes and things that are out there. And, you know, we work with hundreds and hundreds of practices all across the country. We know what works, we know what doesn't, and it's all based on our unique experiences. And so, you know, dentists need to be aware of really who they're working with. You know, some of these companies are out there are run by insurance companies. I mean, do you really want to have another relationship with another insurance company? I mean, I don't. Some in the business are in the business of selling dental products packaged in with their plans and such. And so you have to be aware of these people. Some are funded by venture capitalists that are just looking at dentistry as a great market and saying, hey, these people make a lot of money, right? Okay, there's a lot of money in dentistry. Let's go ahead and get involved with dentistry and suck some more revenue out of that. You know, I took the road of, I'm a dentist. These are my colleagues. These are my peers. Let's create a company that we can be in partnership with the profession and strive to offer something better than what was done before. So anytime you're looking at you know, who you're going to be working with, whether it's you know a QDP or if it's in the same realm or any company out there, understand who's behind the company. All right, what are they looking to do? What are they looking to accomplish? And understand some of the things like customization. You know, our program and what we do at QDP, we have a very customized approach that allows practices to create a program that's really based on their standard of care and their business philosophy. It's not a cookie cutter approach. I mean, just one quick example of why. At QDP, when I first started, what we did was we went ahead and offered patients the ability to pay for one of our programs for the entire year. Okay, so patients paid the entire year for the QDP program. And then what we found later on was some people needed to go ahead and make monthly payments instead. So we said, okay, let's go ahead and start offering monthly payments. Well, why not collect up front if you can, but also be able to offer monthly payments if you can? With our model with QDP, which makes us unique, you can do either or. You can collect in full or you can take a monthly payment. I mean, as a dentist and as someone who's providing services, why not have the ability to collect up front and get paid in full for your services? So that's just part, again, of the uniqueness of what we do and the customization of what we do. And that really has us standing on top of pretty much the marketplace. And what we do is because, again, we're in partnership with dentists. We want to find what they do in practice and build a plan around their approach.
That's really interesting. You know, while you said that, I actually thought of, you triggered this memory in my mind at my dentist. I went to the dentist, and the first time I went to check in, the front desk asked me if I have dental insurance. And what's interesting about it is for dentists not having dental insurance but having the money to pay for comprehensive care, I was all those things. I'm private pay, fee for service, cash, literally cash,
yep,
up front. And, you know, so I'm like the ideal target market. But there was something about that question, do you have dental insurance? And then I said no, and I felt like I was missing out.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
It was, and it's nothing bad to say about the reaction, but you know, this front desk, she's an all-star at billing insurance, and so she remains relevant that way. But you know, I didn't have it, and so there was almost like this. Anyways, just from a patient perspective, I'm sure you and the listeners might be able to kind of get into my psychology on that, because from the rest of the time, I'm like thinking like, well, how does one get dental insurance when they're an entrepreneur and they don't have,
Yeah.
you know, a state employer or something, you know? So.
Sure. You know, Justin, I mean, you're prime example. I mean, you're someone who doesn't have insurance and asked if you have insurance and feel like you're missing out. Like, okay, all of a sudden you think you need a plan. Oh, how do I get one of these plans? Right. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. It's the marketplace. I mean, you know, 50% of the marketplace out there, if you're looking at, you know, who has insurance and who's not, there's a lot of people who don't have dental insurance out there, and a lot of people who simply don't go to the dentist because they don't have a plan. So why not offer that market segment a plan that actually makes sense? And so your story, you know, just hits home. It's something that dentists hear every day.
Yeah. So, you know, one of the things that I think some of our listeners are wondering is, you know, you say you don't take a cookie cutter approach, but can dentists actually set their own fee schedule within QDP?
Sure. You know, there actually isn't any fee schedule for a QDP. Dentists can charge whatever they want for their services. They can charge, you know, whatever they want for the QDP program. What we do actually for the QDP program, what fee would be charged? We actually have a formula, an equation where dentists can actually plug in some of their numbers to come up with a recommended fee for the program based on what they're including in the program. But at the end of the day, Justin, the dentist is always in full control. So if he says, you know what, I think this fee is a little too high, let me go ahead and decrease it by $50. They can do that. If a dentist says, you know what, I feel like I should be charging more and raise it by $25, they can do that. Okay, so again, you know, we're here to make our recommendations, use our expertise to help the dentist, but I am not a third party. We do not want to be a third party and dictate what needs to be done. I believe dentists know their business model better than anybody else at their specific location, what they do. Who better than them to go ahead and set their fees appropriately? We, of course, make recommendations and help them out with that.
So for the patients, bringing it back to the patients, because these are the people who really have to sign on, they have to be on board with this. How often do the patients pay? Monthly, annually?
And you know, that's a great question, because I mean, patients are really the reason why all of us are in business to begin with. That we're here to serve them and serve the communities we're in. So with patients, when we look at patients coming to the dental office, we always want, in my opinion, we should always try and decrease the barriers of entry to the dental office. And so, that's a business world term, barrier of entry. Well, if cost is a reason why people aren't coming to the dental office, cost was mostly handled, that objection was handled by having insurance or having like a third-party finance company to help out with payments. Well, cost is also perceived as what a patient is going to be paying. And let's face it, to patients, dentistry doesn't make sense. The costs of it don't make sense. Okay, when someone's spending $1,500 or so for a crown, the cost $1,500 really doesn't make sense to a patient. I always have this saying I like to say, savings make sense, fees do not. But let me just expand on that just really quick. And I'm going to use a real world example. So I went to Costco to buy a Keurig coffee machine. I'm sure most of your listeners and everybody out there knows what a Keurig coffee machine is. You put a pot in, you press a button, out comes coffee. Well, I didn't know how much one of these should cost. So I went to Costco and I saw a stack of Keurigs, and they said that the Keurig coffee machine on the sign is going to cost $140. And I said, $140 for a coffee maker? I mean, I can go over to Target and get Mr. Coffee for like $25. Why is it $140? Well, on the same sign, it told me I was going to save $30 because I'm a Costco member. Okay, it's only going to be $110. Guess what I did? I bought it. But here's the kicker. I bought it not because $110 made any more sense than $140. I bought it because I was saving $30. Right? Savings make sense, fees do not. So when we look at decreasing barrier of entry, offering savings to patients is a great way to bridge the communication gap between what something's costing and what the value of that is. And so when we look at how do patients pay for something, for a program like QDP, always we like to get paid up front, but we also want to have options available for people to make monthly payments if they need to. So we incentivize payment up front for the entire year, and then we allow, we have the ability to offer monthly payments. The software that's used to power our program is completely customizable as well. So you can have the ability to collect fully up front and have the ability to offer monthly payments as well. For each situation that comes to your office. So whatever patients need, you're really able to attend to their needs.
That's excellent. As you were talking, I thought of another example. Dr. Christopher Phelps came on this show, and he talked about walking down the price stairs and how when you present the $8,000 case and then the $6,000 and then the $4,000 and then the $2,000, you tend to help people coming down the stairs. You tend to kind of help people feel like you're on their side. You're there to give them their options. You want the best option for them, which may be the most expensive. So you start with that. But a lot of dentists go, they go, well, there's the $2,000, the $4,000, the $6,000, the $8,000. It's like walking up the stairs,
Yeah.
This is an interesting thing because, if I walk into a dental practice and I'm like, I got 120 grand for a new grill right here, and here's the suitcase, you might not bring up QDP. But if someone brings up these objections, hey, the cost is a little bit much, I just had this happen and that, and usually a lot of times people tell a story about the car broke down and stuff like that. You start hearing those things, and then you say, okay, well, you know what, we have QDP. And anyways, I was just thinking about that. It's almost like QDP is like, if you go 8, 6, 4, 2 QDP, would you say, you offer training for dentists on how to present QDP, no doubt.
Sure.
Is that kind of the technique? Are those some of the ideas? Like, would you present QDP first? Would you present it later? How would you recommend that?
That's an awesome question, really an awesome question. And it really comes back to understanding patients, right? So if you say, and I always ask this dentist question, or I give this scenario to dentists, right? If you charge $1,500 for a crown, $1,200 for a crown, $1,000 for a crown, or $800 for a crown, in every one of those scenarios, the patient's going to think it's expensive. Always, no matter what, they think it's expensive. Now, they might go through a treatment, they might not, but they think it's expensive because they have no idea what it takes to deliver quality care. So to them, it's expensive. Well, when you start to offer savings, like let's just say you're offering 15% savings on a $1,000 crown, that's $150, right? So the $150 actually makes sense. A $1,000 crown doesn't make sense. An $850 crown doesn't make sense. $150 I'm saving, makes sense. Someone knows what they can do with that extra $150. So that's where that bridging of the communication gap really comes in. Now, as far as offering QDP, when I first started, I thought about, let's just offer it to people, who maybe we think need it. And then we saw some interesting things happen. People who were part of QDP were accepting over 20% more treatment, not just general restorative. We're talking higher dollar treatment as well, like implant placement, orthodontics, cosmetic dentistry, advanced perio, okay? They were accepting treatment because now they had a plan that allowed them to save. Savings make sense, fees do not. Some of these people were long-term patients who I recommended implants on for years, recommended cosmetic dentistry on for years, but they didn't have insurance. Well, now they had a plan that helped them save. They were ready to move forward with treatment. The other thing we saw after years of doing it, we start to delve into our numbers, we saw that QDP patients were over 70% more likely to refer someone else to the office. They were so happy about having a plan, they were happy to spread the word about our practice. So when we first started QDP, we had about a 70% insurance-based practice, 30% fee-for-service. Within 2 years, we almost flipped it on its head. We went from a 70% insurance-based practice to a 35% insurance-based practice and a 65% fee-for-service-based practice, trending in those directions. That's huge. It's huge because we are getting more treatment plan acceptance, we're getting more referrals, we're decreasing all the administrative headache that came around with accepting insurances as well. So my team was ecstatic. And we know referred patients are the best patients to come to the office because referred patients come to you with a built-in level of trust. A friend or a family member sent them to you. So they believe in what you're doing. They usually show up on time, pay on time, and accept more treatment. So it's a great little cycle that we were creating by getting people signed up on QDP. So right now, I'm of the mindset, offer it to everybody you can.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay, so but here's the most important thing to our listeners. How often, how and when does the dentist get paid with QDP?
And Justin, again, being a dentist, understanding all this, we've designed it so you get paid immediately, right there and then, by the patient. It's a transaction. The relationship is always between the patient and the dental office. Okay, that's what we want to preserve. So you get paid directly. There's no us collecting money, then waiting 30 days to pay you, like some companies do, and some we know insurances do for sure. No, you get paid immediately, and that's one of the bonuses is the collection cost to collect money, whether it's following up on a claim, filing a claim, waiting for payment, that type of thing. The longer you wait to get paid, the more money you lose. So from my standpoint, we designed it so you would get paid that day.
That's great. That's a huge plus right there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Interesting. Okay. Well, what kind of initial setup and training? We're talking about time and money investment.
Yep.
How much would a dentist expect to have to invest time and money wise in QDP in establishing it?
Sure. As far as time goes, time is. Let me tell you this, on average, most practices get everything set up, ready to go in less than 2 weeks. Some offices have done it in as little as 3 days. We had one office do it in 1 day. So it just depends on how much time you want to put into training. The training aspect of what we do is extremely comprehensive. I believe that's part of where we shine because we offer not only a written manual with easy to follow checklists that you can always reference and go through, we actually have online training that's customized to each individual job description in the office. So the business team leaders are learning the fine details of presenting, accounting, setting up, how to work it within the practice management software, how to use the software, where the clinical team, maybe they don't need to know those details. They're learning about how to present it, how to go ahead and talk with patients about it, and how to overcome any objections that go along with it as well. So from that standpoint, it's team training. Everybody's time is respected, and it is narrowed down to their job description. So we also offer phone training as well, where we'll help offices customize the program based on their need. Because some offices, let's just say a small group practice, single location, has multiple doctors. Maybe doctors are reimbursed on different levels. Well, how do you figure all that out? Who's getting reimbursed for what and where? We help offices figure that out. Okay. Some offices have different payment structures for the hygiene team and such like that. So we help to figure out all these unique structures out. Again, that's part of the customization of what we do.
Excellent. Man, that's a really long answer for 2 hours.
Right.
All right. So speaking of time, how long does it take for dentists to start seeing a positive impact from QDP in their practice?
You know, the moment they start offering it. I mean, we just had an office who signed up, implemented last week. Their first week signed up 15 patients. I mean, literally right there. One patient had, I want to say it was like a $1,200, maybe $12,500 treatment plan. I'm not sure the exact number, but they went ahead. They didn't have a plan. They signed up for QDP scheduled treatment that day. Okay, so I mean, it literally is, as soon as you get it implemented and start offering it, it just makes sense to patients. People want a plan. You're offering them a plan, giving them a plan. It's simple business 101.
When I was 17 years old, I financed like a mattress. You know, I went out, I got my own place. I graduated high school early. I went out, I got my own place. I thought I was an all-star for buying my own mattress. And they gave me in-house financing, and I could have totally walked away from it. I paid the guy. It was great. But I could have totally walked away from the guy and not paid him. And I always had that in the back of my head. Is that something that, I mean, QDP, I like the logo, by the way.
Thanks.
Yeah. You know, it's like, does it kind of add a little bit of legitimacy to like the image? And then also in tandem to that question, is there, as far as collections are concerned, totally unscripted coming at you,
Yeah.
How does collections work as far as like, how do you help the dentist collect on this?
You know, it very simply. So what we're looking to answer the first part, to answer that, I guess the first part of the question, if I was understanding it correctly, as far as QDP and the image and the brand and everything like that, sure, you know, we have a couple of options of what we offer for our service options. We have our branded QDP option that everybody sees. We also have a non-branded option, what we call our member-in option. Again, it's about customization and flexibility for the practices we work with. Some practices want to go ahead and market and kind of blow the doors off of this and bring in lots of people. Other practices just want something to go ahead and offer their patients in-house without, you know, marketing any of it. And that's their decision. So we have a member-in option where, you know, they don't have to pay for the brand, but they still get all the know-how, the support, the training, and everything that goes along with it. So yeah, the branding and the non-branded option really satisfy all the needs of the dentists that are out there that are looking to do something like this. As far as collections and payment goes, offices are collecting just how they normally would. I mean, at time of service, right over the counter for anybody that they would work with, let's say a fee-for-service patient. So however they would usually treat a fee-for-service patient, that's how you would treat a QDP patient. Same thing, fee-for-service patient. So you're not waiting for payment. Now, if you're accepting payments over time, right? If you're actually becoming a finance company, a third-party financer, now we're not a third-party financer. Third-party financing isn't what we do. There's a lot of great companies out there that do that part of it. But if you're going to do something like that, there's always risk involved, right? There's always risk involved that someone's not going to pay, and the risk of someone not paying goes up with the amount of money that somebody's paying towards it. So, you know, as far as a default rate, like you said, with your mattress, you could have totally walked away from that deal, but you didn't because probably the payment was pretty low. So in our case, you know, if someone is going to offer a monthly payment for a yearly program or a yearly plan, let's say, you have to go ahead and be sure you understand what you're getting yourself into. The software that we have automates payments, it notifies patients, that type of thing. So it really automates that process if you're going to go down that road for you.
This is really cool. So I really like this. This is so where can the viewers find you?
Really easy, you know, for any dentists or dental team members out there, qdpdentist.com. So Q is in quality, qdpdentist.com, I'll put it to you that way. Q is in quality, D is in dental, P is in plan, dentist.com. So real simple, just go there. That's our professional website. Qualitydentalplan.com is more of a generic, we call it public website, but qdpdentist.com is where you'll go ahead and find the details that you would need if you're a dentist or a dental office.
Excellent. Well, you heard it here first. I swear you heard it here first. You haven't heard it anywhere else. No, QDP is everywhere. So let's sign it off, and maybe just like 2 or 3 quick tips for dentists who are thinking about QDP, thinking about in-house, thinking about doing it themselves. What would you say? What are 3 quick takeaway tips from if we could kind of recap?
Sure. You know, I could give you 3 really quick words. Just do it. Okay, Nike, just do it. You know, this is something that helps practices, helps patients, strengthens the relationship. It's something where you're actually able to increase access to care for people in your community. It's a great thing. As a dentist, one of the great things that I saw, Justin, as a dentist, was that patient who came in and said, you know what, I've been to the dentist for 10 years. I lost my dental insurance long ago when I changed my jobs, and I just never went back. I mean, this person had money to go to the dentist. They had money to spend on dental care. They just didn't go because they didn't have a plan. Now here he was coming into my practice receiving dental care because we offered him a plan that made sense. So yeah, he had a large treatment plan at that point because he neglected some dental care for a while, but at least he was getting it done and it didn't turn into something else like an emergency, which does happen. We all know happens. So really it's about accomplishing what you want to accomplish as a dentist, as a dental business, taking care of your community, but doing it in a way that makes sense for your office, preserving that dentist-patient relationship rather than getting a third party involved.
Well, that's great, man. I think this is a great thing to check out. And for our listeners, you might have some questions for Dr. Dan. Reach out to Dr. Dan. I know you're big on Dental Town. You've been there. Haven't you been there since the beginning?
Man, Justin, I've been there when they first started. Get this, when I was in dental school, I had to do a research paper that was actually published along with a few other people in collaboration that was published in JADA on dental portals way back in the day. I think it was like maybe 2000 or something. And I was charged with investigating Dental Town. It's crazy how it works and how everything comes full circle. Howard and I met more than a few times, had dinner with his family and such when I was visiting Arizona when I just got out of dental school. And it's been great. It's dentists helping dentists. It's all the personalities. It's people on there, and it's always a lot of fun. There's a serious aspect to it all and everything like that. But the early days of being a townie and a new dentist, the information and the networking that I made on there was invaluable, and I wouldn't be where I am today without the help of the great people on Dental Town and in this profession.
And you're paying it forward. You're on there giving great advice. So qdpdentist.com, that's where you can find more information on that. And man, it's been great having you on, Dr. Dan. Got some real good actionable tips. I love the energy. I love the logo. This is really good stuff. So if you have questions, feel free to reach out. If you like this interview, thumbs up it on YouTube, because that's the only reason why I do this show, is for your thumbs up. So thanks for signing on, and hopefully this will help grow your practice. If not, you got some really valuable information either way. Maybe you can do this yourself. So either way, thank you to my guest of honor, Dr. Dan.
Thanks, Justin. Appreciate you having me on today.
And thank you for watching the Dental Marketing Guy Show.